The Shooting Range. In this episode, Pages of History, South African H.E. Slinger, Special, Touring Flanders, and Metal Beasts, Extraterrestrial Aircraft. Time to see the new vehicles. Let us introduce one of the most unusual and beautiful planes in our game. And, well, in real life too. It was originally developed as a fighter for the US Army and Navy, but ended up as a superb tactical bomber. It's the first mass-produced aircraft with a variable sweep wing, afterburning turbofan engines, and a crew escape capsule. The sound of its flight was recorded for Voyager's Golden Record, which has been faring in outer space for 46 years now, crossing billions of kilometers. And this aircraft is the General Dynamics F-111A Aardvark. The wing sweep angle can vary between 16 and 72.5 degrees. The aircraft is propelled by a twin turbofan engine with afterburners. Space in the fuselage, keel, and between the wing spars is occupied by self-sealing fuel tanks. The nose cone hides the onboard radar station. 8 hardpoints and a bomb bay allow this aircraft to carry 6-barreled 20mm cannons, guided air-to-air and air-to-surface missiles, and a record number of conventional bombs and rockets for War Thunder. As is our tradition, we'll start with discussing air combat. The main advantage of the F-111 is speed. It won't surprise you with acceleration dynamics at this BR, but its top speed in a low-altitude flight matches the best fighters in the game. The F-111's flight performance is good enough for it to be an interceptor, but its air-to-air weaponry is a bit lacking. The Aardvark can carry up to 8 close-range missiles, but only the early models that can hit non-maneuvering targets. And, of course, they need to be launched from the rear. A better option is to arm this aircraft with some good old lead. How about 5 20mm Vulcans? With this rate of fire and accuracy, you have good chances in a frontal attack against any opponent, while a large ammo pool allows you to be active for a long time without being distracted for reloads. Still, the best application for the F-111 is not in the air, it's on the ground. This aircraft is simply ideal for close air support. It can travel to its targets at ultra-low altitudes, dodging the landscape, and bring a stupid number of bombs and rockets. Its maximum load is half 100 750-pound bombs. Just for comparison, the B-29 strategic bomber can only take 40 500-pound bombs. Even the previous record, the Tu-4, can only carry 12 tons, which is a third less than the Aardvark's load. Of course, you need to forget you have flight performance if you load up all of it, and pray your takeoff strip is long enough. Still, it's super impressive. There's another record this new vehicle has set: the number of rockets it can carry. 456! That's pushing the last record by more than 50%. And, well, ignoring the flight performance and the armament, the F-111 is stunningly beautiful. There's something out of this world about it, even extraterrestrial. In the 1970s, South Africa was a pretty wealthy country. Even despite the numerous conflicts it took part in, it could afford the luxury of rearmament. Still, when the border war reached an escalation point, the South African artillery was outdated. The issues had nothing to do with money. The country was under a weapons embargo. Establishing their own production of modern howitzers turned out to be a tricky task that took a few years. At first, the engineers created the G5 howitzer based on a transportable mobile platform. It wasn't enough, though. The Army wanted a cannon with its own wheeled chassis that would be able to work together with the Rattel and Eland IFVs in savanna and desert environments. The work began in 1979 and resulted in building 4 machines for operational tests. The new vehicle was designated G6. Despite breakdowns and other issues, the machines managed to get to Angola under their own power. The SPGs worked as a standalone group and were able to take part in Operation Modular. The experience of this operation proved that the G6 had superior range compared to the Soviet 122mm cannons and MRLS. And even if the South African howitzers found themselves in the range of enemy fire, the latter had little chance. The G6 could shell a target and change positions in less than a minute. This kind of capability made counter-battery artillery useless, so the opponent had to employ MiG-23 aircraft instead of artillery. South African artillery would regularly shell the Quito Quanavale aerodrome to limited success. Planes and helicopters based there were damaged and had to be moved to a safe base in Minongwe after repairs. South Africa even stated that its artillery managed to destroy 4 MiG-21s while they were getting ready for takeoff. Still, the artillery was forced to change its positions frequently, use camouflage, and work mostly at night. Modest South African anti-air defense had to use a major part of its resources to protect the precious howitzers, including Aardvark vehicles and mobile SAMs. Thanks to all the effort, not a single G6 was lost in action. Coordinated work of the observers and reconnaissance data further improved the efficiency of the artillery. The G6 and G5 were ultimately successful in every task they were given. They shelled enemy positions, attacked enemy forces on the move, performed direct fire, lit up battlefields in the dark, laid smoke, and even hit some aircraft. This success was made possible thanks to numerous technological innovations. The G6 was equipped with a cutting-edge fire control system, as well as an auxiliary power supply and advanced rounds. There are various assessments of the effect these howitzers had in the war. However, they certainly proved that wheeled, self-propelled howitzers can be a useful tool on the battlefield. Whether they knew it or not, South African engineers created an SPG whose development and usage affected the militaries of the entire world. In addition to anticipated vehicles, the latest update also brings a unique location for mixed battles. Today we'd like to invite you to our traditional welcome tour around the picturesque Flanders. This map was inspired by a history-rich region in northwestern Europe, on the territory of modern France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. This is the first location in War Thunder that our artists have adapted for battles in different time periods. It can feature World War I-era blimps and armored trains, or heavy transport aircraft and modern cars. The game will choose the more suitable environment depending on the BR of the battle, allowing our players to immerse themselves into the atmosphere. At first, this location may feel pretty open, but that's not entirely true. With multiple elevation differences, natural and artificial obstacles, one can discreetly move around almost the entire territory. Let's begin our tour in the western part of the map. This place features green meadows with sparse trees and fields scattered with bright flowers. The natural harmony is a bit spoiled by ruined buildings long abandoned by the locals, endless trenches, ditches, and pits left by recent battles. Right in the center, between the spawn points, we can see Strategic Area A. Depending on the location variant, the main highlight of this area is either an enormous, burnt-down blimp or a crashed transport aircraft that was blown into pieces mid-air. In both cases, the debris creates a number of shelters that allow you to capture this point safely and hold your defenses. Let's move to the center of the location. The fastest way to get to point B is by following the railroad that pierces the location from west to east. This path is plenty dangerous, though. It exposes you to enemy fire, even at long distances. A safer path lays through the maze of trenches. Point B welcomes us with a railroad station and a tiny town. It provides even more cover for a safe capture, and the low BR version gives extra protection in the form of an armored train. We continue moving towards the eastern part of the map and can now see one of the two tunnels that go under the railway road. These can help players get to the enemy side of the map, but we have to advise caution here. This is an easy ambush spot. The eastern part of the map shows a visible division. One side is all fields and flowers, while the other one is scorched earth and a demolished town. Right in the center, we see an old horse race track, built in an eclectic style, and the remaining capture area. This terrain is more open, but the stables and stands can provide some cover. So, what do you think of the new location? Should we invite our squad mates for some victorious show and tell? Meanwhile, we'll answer some of your questions from the comments. The first question was sent by a player called Skolikris. Which is better, the R27ER or the R27ET? Hi there. It's a tough choice. The radar version can be launched at long distances, for example, early in a battle, but it's nowhere near as handy in close combat, so the R27ET is preferable. Jack Atlas asks, which tank is better, the Abrams or the Challenger? And also, which one has the most armor? Hey Jack, we believe the Abrams is better thanks to its versatility. As for armor, the Challenger has a sturdier turret, but its hull can't escape every scrape. The American tank has its own vulnerabilities, but those are spread all around the vehicle. Another question comes from CPU. What's the best Spitfire? Hey there. If you compare all the Spitfires, the latest model will win, hands down. But they also have various battle ratings, and with those in mind, every member of the family deserves praise. We'd also like to add that all Spitfires should be the same for the CPU, in case you were talking about that. Snap Gerard writes, is it true that the tracks were used as armor in real life, like in the game, or just in the game for additional armor? Hi Gerard. Well, there was a reason for putting them onto the armor, sometimes covering much of the hull. The actual effect of this move is hard to assess, but it didn't hurt anyway. You've been watching The Shooting Range by Gaijin Entertainment, and the next episode will premiere the following Sunday at 4 p.m. GMT or noon Eastern Time. Subscribe and click the bell if you don't want to miss our next videos. Don't forget to write FARK, FARK, FARK! Leave a like, share your thoughts and comments, and see you next week.